There she was, sitting down on the ground next to the fire camp. She was smoking something fierce and nice. I came next to her and I said, bitch, you gonna share that shit?
Oh, that's a good intro, dude.
Can I get at least one hit?
You know.
Guys, welcome to Dragon Coffee.
Yeah, welcome to Dragon Coffee.
Welcome to Dragon Coffee.
This is the show.
This is a show
where me and
Lambo-san.
No.
Lambo-san the DM.
Gotta go by your normal name one time.
Lambo-san the DM.
You already know his real name. So I don't have to say it.
The DM. Yeah.
And Caleb, who plays Trixie on the normal show.
I'm sorry you guys didn't
We're
have
going to basically have a talk.
Oh yeah.
This will be, I think this will be on a different. This will be a different podcast in general. Anyways, we play on the podcast named AC2 High, where we play in the current Tal'Dorei campaign that Matt Mercer put out a setting for.
Oh yeah,
it's based on his world. So I play a level 6 wizard named Trixie, but this isn't about Trixie. This isn't about that campaign. This is about Dungeons and Dragons itself. And we got ourselves our coffee. We invite you to grab some coffee as well.
Please sit down. Have a bowl of coffee if you have to.
Oh, a bowl of coffee. Yeah.
Yes.
We did, instead of milk, put coffee in it.
Yeah.
Get some honey nut coffee.
Honey nut coffee or Coffeeos. It's very great value.
Have you ever had that?
Oh, great value? Honey nut coffee?
Oh, great value.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those are the best kind.
Exactly.
The more bland, the better.
Exactly. If you guys are looking to learn some D&D, this is a great station to stop at.
Mm-hmm.
WBLS.
D&D 106.E.
Oh.
Yeah.
5E.
5E. You get it?
106.5E.
105E.
Yes.
Oh! Hey! Welcome to 105. Welcome to 105.5E.
5E.
Welcome to 105E.
Exactly.
The radio station for all your 5E needs.
All of them. If you have needs to scratch, we got the back scratcher for you.
Back scratcher. Let's talk about
Dungeons and Dragons.
In each one of these episodes, we're going to start off with trying to find out exactly how we want to layer and structure this podcast, but we have an idea of how we're going to start it, and we'll probably develop it as we go on. But for the first half of the podcast, we plan on talking about a certain part to the beginnings of Dungeons & Dragons, of what you might need, or a certain topic of how to play, or something to that degree. It will be about the game itself, not necessarily a part of an adventure or something like that. It's about the game itself. And then for the last half, we're going to be talking about a certain, or an individual monster for that second half of the episode. So, without further ado, I think it's easy if you, the first thing we talk about is,
I feel,
maybe this? What are you thinking?
I feel attack and damage.
Okay.
Because we really were confused about that when we first started.
Yeah, we actually look back on some of we ever since we started playing this game, we've actually recorded all of our stuff. So we actually have the audio of when we were learning and beginning as players, and God, it's rough.
It was so rough.
We know how rough it can be. So if you are feeling self-conscious about it, or you feel as though you're not doing well, it's okay, because we all felt that way. We only ease into it after a while.
It took us a while.
So you're already taking a step in the right direction. I'm trying to learn. Like that, I tackled
He tackled the fan.
Oops. I was having it on. How do we keep for a different music play around it? So yeah, you're already going in the right direction by trying to figure it out. And first
better
things first,
yourself and better your table as well.
Exactly. For this episode, since you mentioned it, we're going to be talking about attack rolls.
Attack and damage.
Attack and damage rolls. Now, obviously, for each individual class, there is different things that you can do. I think that's fairly obvious. We'll start off with the easy ones.
Let's break down these simple weapons. Easiest to go with. Finesse.
Absolutely.
Oh boy, finesse. Finesse is basically your light weapons, like daggers, and also crossbows and light bows and all that such. So that is calculated by either your strength modifier. So as far as modifiers go, every even number that you hit, so if you have 10, you have a +0. If you have 12, you have a +1. If you have 14, you have a +2 to hit. And to hit ratios go based on your proficiency modifier. When you start level 1, you have a proficiency of 2. And say, for instance, you have a character with a dexterity of 18, and he wants to shoot his crossbow. The DM asks you to roll to attack. So, in order to roll to attack, which is different from damage, rolling to attack is adding your proficiency modifier plus your bonus modifier for whatever weapon you're using. So, once again, we're going to go back to daggers.
I think it'd be easier if we start off with the fact that once you choose your race and once you choose your class, with each race and class, you get different proficiencies. In some races, you don't get it at all. Like if you're choosing a human, humans just get the ability to have better ability score improvements at the get-go. That's about it. They don't really get any proficiencies, but if you're going like a dark elf or a high elves I know that are good with bows and stuff, so they automatically get proficiencies. Doesn't matter what they are. I'm playing a drow currently in AC2I, so I have proficiencies in daggers and in sneaky weapons.
We'll go easy mode. We'll go rogue. Rogue gets proficiency in daggers and simple weapons. So
Since we've already
you're going to be using a dagger for the most part.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most go-to weapon, or a crossbow, if anything. So you take your dagger. DM asks you to roll for attack. You rolled your d20.
Go ahead and roll. What'd you get?
I got a 17. My dexterity is a 4. So already that is a 21? 21 right there. Plus my 2 proficiency. So that makes it a 23.
To attack.
23 to attack. I hit and I roll my damage dice, which for a dagger, it is a 1d4. That is the one that looks like a triangle. You roll that one. I got a 4. 4 plus 4, that's 8 right there. So I do 8 damage to whatever creature I just tried to hit. But say, for instance, for whatever reason, I'm not dexterous, and I have a short sword. DM asks me to roll to attack. Got another 17. My character also has a 18 plus 4, so that once again gives me a 23. And why did I get a 23? Because I have a plus 4 strength and a proficiency of 2. And now I'm gonna roll the damage because I hit that creature. It's for sure. I got another 4 once again, so 8 altogether. I dealt 4 damage with my damage dice, and I hit for a positive 6 at all times. If you're confused by that, it's understandable. We were very confused by that at first. We rolled and rolled and rolled till we just started adding random numbers that didn't really fit with what our class actually gave us. We'd only add our modifier, our ability modifier, and that's pretty much it. That's attack and damage.
Absolutely. And that wavers between different classes. So basically he gave you the easy route. See, it would be the same thing if we were going to a fighter. Let's use the fighter for example. The fighter pretty much has proficiencies in fucking anything you want to. But we're going to use the drow. We're going to use the drow race for every single one of these classes to make it way easier for you to understand. Instead of giving you these complicated things about this race gets this race gets that. We'll do that when we cover races in our different episodes. So what we tell you right now is that the drow, we just know the drow very much because we're using a very heavy drow campaign in our AC2 high series.
If you haven't checked it out, go right ahead and check it out. We'll most likely leave a link in the description.
Absolutely.
For this as well. So go ahead and check that out too. It'll definitely give you some more insight too.
Absolutely. We would love to have you there. And, the more you understand the game, the more we're doing our job right. So
exactly.
I have my character sheet right here for Trixie that we actually use for a video that he recently made on our YouTube channel, since we're already doing promotions anyway. You can check that out on AC2 High at YouTube. And our DM here is recently started a DMDMing, right? Is that how you say it? DMDMing series where he's covering the DM sides of perspective, or just how to get started, and basically giving you his side, so maybe that could help you guys out with how to DM. But that's before that's advanced. That's some advanced stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So if you are interested in that, please go check it out. I have my Trixie sheet right here. Trixie Klimstorm is a wizard drow from the Underdark, and that's just easy enough for me. We have, for the drows, they get a +2 dex and I think +1 charisma. I could be wrong, but I'm almost 100% sure that it's something like that. I know it's charisma and dex for sure. So that doesn't benefit wizards, but that wasn't really going for optimal. It's just what I wanted to play. So let's talk about a drow fighter. They already get proficiencies in daggers and finesse weapons because they're drow. So if we were going for a fighter build, it would be something revolving either around daggers or bows. Something that can revolve around mostly around their dex, because I believe bows are dex, right?
Yes, bows are dex-based weapons.
Mm-hmm. So if you're looking to optimize correctly, or you're one of those min-maxers, we are not min-maxers, by the way. When we play the game for just the roleplay aspect of it, and if we just happen to have good stats and things happen to come our way, then
so be it.
So be it. If not, we're just more of story players and DMs in a way. That's the way we've been from the get-go, because I guess it drives off the imagination in general, and that's what fuels us.
Yeah, we just play off of each other, and we build a story based on that.
Mm-hmm. So, before we get too off topic, dex fighting. We're going to use a bow, for example, for a fighter. So we'll use an archer fighter drow. What is the damage dice for a longbow?
Longbow is a D8.
Or a D8. So we'll do an example here. I'm playing a fighter. Fighter is pretty much
you gotta
the
roll
easiest.
The hit first, bro.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, I couldn't see. It looked small. Dice look small.
Oh, I didn't hit, actually.
You never know. What kind of creature is it? Let's say it's a goblin.
Let's say it's a goblin. So,
AC of 11.
See? We have a +3. We have a 3 that we have rolled, and a 2 for proficiency. So that makes it a 5. And let's just say our dex is 4, because that's typically what it would be.
Exactly.
So 9 to hit. Would that hit a goblin? Probably not.
9? No, you actually missed. Why? It's because there's something called AC, which is actually something I gotta figure out what it's called. Because I actually don't know what the word AC means, which is funny.
It's armor class.
Oh, yeah.
Armor class.
Nice. And our channel is called AC Too High, because you can't hit us. Did you know that? But anyways, so yes, armor class. Wow.
Yeah, it's supposed to
DM forgot, huh? DM's bad.
No,
DM's bad.
That's not what it is.
Bad DM.
Let's not do that, please.
So, in order to hit something, you have to either meet their AC, aka armor class, or surpass it, if you roll just below it by one number, you miss. So your DM will tell you, you seem to have swung and they narrowly dodged it, just evading your blow. You did not connect. So you have missed, and it's okay if you miss. It's fine. Because now let's talk about offhanded attacks. So instead of using a bow, say for instance you're using double daggers. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky and slightly annoying. So when you attack offhand, you rolled your attack, which is your d20, correct? I rolled a 6. We got another 6, that's a 12. That hits the goblin. But when you roll your damage dice, I rolled a 3, you only have a 3 damage. That's it. You do not add your ability score modifier to that damage. Unless you have a feat or description in your kit that says otherwise.
Which is a whole nother battlefield.
Yep, we'll get into something like that way later on, because describing kits are very...
It's insane.
Yes.
I mean, like, we've been playing for so long that we've developed characters and it's just become normal for us at this point, but now thinking about it and thinking about the complications that come with each character, there is a lot.
There's a whole ton to D&D.
Absolutely.
And you know, like we said, we're here to help. You know, if you guys have any questions on probably a video that you guys would like to see next, definitely leave a comment. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. You know, and if you really, really want to toll off the bell, hit that bell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And you'll definitely get notifications when more Dragon Coffee comes out, or when
AC Too High
comes out. Yeah, I think we got plenty of time to go over a couple more things that would be important. We'll go over spell attacks first. Spell attacks are still attacks, and especially
I feel like that might be a video in and of itself, just because of how, because there's 3 things you have to complicate with it.
I think I just think we're going with the basics here. So let's just use a cantrip. You okay with that?
It's just like, once again, it's still, I feel like that's a video in and of itself.
You sure?
Yeah. Because spells and spell-like abilities, because there's the differentiation.
I get that. It's just more or less like... Okay, we'll make it simple. We're not going to go over the difficulties of the different spells or the details of the spell, but let's just say I am rolling a spell as a wizard. What do I roll to hit? D20. Got a 5, and my intelligence score is a +4. So that's a 9. And then +2, 11.
Hits a goblin. Go ahead and roll for damage. What are you rolling? Maybe, let's say, for instance, Fireball. Firebolt, sorry.
Fireball.
D10.
Yeah, I was about to say
D10.
Fireball. What kind of level am I? 1 damage.
Yes, so when it comes to magic, many magics do not have... you do not add your ability score modifier to a lot of damage unless it specifies otherwise, because innately magic is an infinite resource. You can always cast your cantrips. Meanwhile, if somebody loses a dagger or their weapon or a rust monster eats it or whatever the case is, they lose that forever, or until they pick it back up or whatever the case is. But magic is, cantrips are infinite. You can never run out of cantrips. So it makes them pretty strong, and I feel that's where they got the balancing from that aspect.
We can stop there, because I think you are right about doing the spells at a different things. But I just wanted to get the little, just like that small basic under there, because I'm sure there's still 4 attack.
You know what? Most likely might leave the next video in the description discussing that. So probably not now, but most likely
a week. We're coming out this with a week, so next week we'll go over spells.
Exactly.
And spell attacks. Not all the spells, but just how to do spelling. Spellcasting.
Spelling. Ooh, that's actually
Spellcasting.
spelling.
Ooh.
I'm a spelling bee wizard.
I think this might be a good place, though, to take our break. You'll definitely be getting our... since we're taking our break and we need to set up for our monster anyway, would you like to go over one more time? Sorry if we're going to bombard you with this information.
We bombard them
we
with
just
info.
We just want you to, if you are interested in our other resources and the other projects we have going on, that you know that they are available. So can you go over both the AC2 High and the YouTube channel while I get the monster set up?
YouTube channel, question mark? You
Just talking about your series.
Oh, okay. Alright, so AC2 High. That is a very interesting campaign that is set in the Tal'Dorei setting. It revolves around the aftermath of Thordak, the Destroyer. Basically, after Vox Machina deleted him off of the face of the earth, and we mostly have our setting take place in Amon, which is where Thordak's battle was. And so we're playing off of some of the aspects that Thordak left behind, and I'm kind of just adapting that and using that and revolving everything around there mostly. It's a very interesting setting, it's a very interesting premise, and the intro set the stage for the entire event, which was us literally, well, not us, sorry, my players getting their souls sucked from their bodies and waking up in a dank, dark dungeon by what I call the prince of the land around Amon. And basically, they're on a very long quest to get back their souls. Who knows, they might never get them back. And it'll be interesting ramifications to see what happens if they actually die. Because that has not yet happened. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It all depends on how they play the game. So, essentially speaking, from there, it kind of spiraled and went into a bit of disarray and chaos and strife amongst the group. It mostly takes place around two drows, one Trixie and one Moxie. And there's so many interesting nuances to this campaign, guys, that you guys are probably going to have to stick around for a very long time to find out. And if you haven't yet, check out our videos on AC2I as well. Please, go right ahead.
All right. I think that's good enough. We can go ahead and get into the monster details of. I'll start up with mine, and then next episode we'll grab your monster.
Right.
We'll make it. We'll see how this works out and just stuff. Today's monster is going to be the Deathlok. Now, do you know anything about the Deathlok?
I know it locks you into death.
That's a good start.
Yeah. Tell me about this monster.
Okay. I will start off with the description.
Does it have anything to do with Deathlock?
I don't know that.
Okay, I'm
I
just
have done it
making
before,
sure.
I don't know. What I do want to let you guys know is that this monster is found in Morden Cayman's Tomb of Foes. We've had this book for a while, and there's still a lot of monsters that we have no idea about. So it's just an infinite resource, and if you want to know more about this monster, I am reading the description of this monster out of Morden Cayman's Tomb of Foes. So let's go. Okay, the forging of a pact between a warlock and a patron is no minor occasion. At least not for the warlock. The consequences of breaking that pact can be dire, and in some cases, lethal. A warlock who fails to live up to a bargain with an evil patron runs the risk of rising from the dead as a Deathlok.
Ooh.
A foul undead driven to serve its otherworldly patron from beyond the grave.
Nice.
An extraordinarily powerful necromancer might also discover the dark methods of creating a Deathlock and then bind it to service, acting in this respect as the Deathlock's patron.
So do you think that a PC can become a Deathlock?
I think that's an option. I think that is why it's here. I think I really do. I mean, like, other than obviously having a monster stat block or something like that, it's definitely there. So the Warlock has
The chance.
more different options for a Warlock. Whether that's noted or not, I just feel like this monster is interesting because it's literally an undead that either is struggling to get away from its patron or just failed in its quest to serve its patron and is getting another chance. So in one way, the Warlock is just
Skewered.
just mentally and physically abused because he's now back if he didn't want to be one, or is given another chance and the player thrives.
Well, would you say that the DM would be taking over this character then, for the most part?
I think that's up to the player and the DM. I think that is something they discuss. Because if the DM wants to incorporate something like this and the player likes it, or the player is just like, oh yeah, this is dope as shit, I would love for you to take control of it, then all for it. But I think if the player still wants to play the Warlock as this Deathlock, you guys should talk to each other and kind of and come up with let's first look at the abilities and then kind of determine what they would have if they did actually become a Deathlock, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at that.
It might boost their stats tremendously. Ooh, okay.
Florida, baby.
Florida.
I'll before we even get into that, because this is part of our big discussion anyway, right? With this interesting creature. I'll continue the description, and once that's done, then we'll look at the monster sheet. An overpowering urge to serve consumes the mind of a newly awakened Deathlock. All goals and ambitions it had in life that don't please its patron fall away, as its master's desires become the purpose that drives the Deathlock. The creature immediately resumes work on its patron's behalf. Accomplishing a difficult goal might mean the Deathlock is forced to serve another powerful creature, or might entail in gathering servants of its own. Whatever the goal, it always reflects the patron's interests, ranging from small-scale concerns to matters of cosmic scope. A Deathlock in the thrall of a fiend might work to destroy a specific temple dedicated to a good god, while one that serves a great old one could be charged with hunting for the materials needed to call forth a horrifying entity into the world. A Deathlock doesn't require air, food, drink, or sleep.
So essentially, it's kind of like a very bogged down demi-lock.
In a way, yeah. It's like your...
Demi-lit, sure.
It's like an undead warlock. It's as simple as that. I think if you're going to simplify it, it is literally just a zombie warlock.
Because this would significantly decrease your player's stats, or it might boost it depending on what level this happens.
It's interesting because there's two different Deathlocks, monsters that they have here. They have the ordinary Deathlock, and then they have this thing called a Deathlock Mastermind. And before we get into stats, I'll go over the
And then they have the
Mastermind.
Deathlok White.
Yeah, they really do, actually. There's three different ones, which is why I saw the Deathlock and was like, all right, this is enough content for us to go over that.
So they can completely be overpowered or underpowered.
It depends on, I'm assuming, the patron.
And also probably depending on how it happens. Because let's read the other descriptions of the Deathlock Mastermind.
Though Deathlocks exist to serve their patrons, they retain some freedom when it comes to devising particular tactics and carrying out their plans. Powerful Deathlocks recruit lesser creatures to help them carry out their missions, and in this capacity become the masterminds behind vast conspiracies and intrigues that culminate in the accomplishment of great acts of evil.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, this is just a pure dark creature right here.
They literally, if they're a good character, they turned evil. It's essentially like your mind is now either warped, and it's warped in the mind of the patron, of what the patron's goals are. I think you're literally, it doesn't matter what your character's alignment was. Yeah. It's the alignment of the patron.
And then let's read the last one, and then we'll jump back to the first one, and we'll talk about that one in detail.
In the differences of which one's which. In the Deathlok White, that is a weird word. Bereft of much of its magic, a Deathlok White lingers between the Warlock it was and the deathly experience of a white.
Existence.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
A special punishment meted out by certain patrons and necromancers. They use weird words.
I feel like it just essentially saying that, as far as bereft, just based on the context of it, it just means depleted or lessened or weakened. Because it seems to have a very small list of spells in comparison to the rest.
I just think it's just more like... It's just a different option, it looks like. I don't know. Let's just go back to the Deathlok and look and see what its stats are and what it's got for a normal monster, and then we'll look at the Mastermind and see the differences. So, with the Deathlok, it's a medium undead, neutral evil. We kind of assumed that was the much. It has an armor class of 12. You can use mage armor to make it better, though.
Why would he not?
Exactly. Hit points of 36. Speed is 30 feet. Strength 11. Dex is a +2. Con +0. Intelligence +2. Wisdom +1. And a charisma +3. For it is a warlock still.
I don't see it being charismatic, but whatever.
I think it's just because of the warlock.
It really is.
Saving throws are intelligence and charisma. And skills are arcana and history. Damage resistances: necrotic, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't silvered. Damage... that's very specific, right?
That is very specific.
Damage immunities: poison. Condition immunities: exhaustion and poison. It can't be exhausted or poisoned. It has 60 feet of dark vision, passive perception of 11, and the languages are the languages that it knew before it was dead.
Makes sense.
And the challenge level is 4. It has innate spellcasting, for it is a warlock.
Of course.
Deathlok's innate spellcasting ability is charisma, warlock. It can innately cast the following spells, requiring no material components. At will, it can just detect magic, disguise self, and mage armor. So you don't even have to think about it as a DM. You could just have mage armor always on this bitch because it's innate.
Why would you not? And disguise self, that really goes hand in hand.
I know, it's kind of ridiculous.
He can literally just look like a commoner walking around inside the town, but lo and behold, he's Deathplot.
Creepy. That makes up for some interesting roleplay.
Yeah, I mean, that can actually be the mayor right there.
It could be anybody.
It could be.
That's the creepy part about this, man. Oh, I love this kind of shit, though. So, we'll get over to the spellcasting abilities, which I think are not the innate things, but just the OP shit that it probably has.
Of course.
Same thing with charisma. It regains its extended spell slots when it's finishing a short or long rest. It's essentially a PC.
This really just feels like one.
Cantrips, Chill Touch, Eldritch Blast, Mage Hand, and first to third level spell slots are Arm of Hadar, Dispel Magic, Hold Person, Hunger of Hadar, Invisibility, and Spider Climb.
Because I'd class this the same way I would a Warlock. It casts at the highest possible.
Yeah.
Which is third level.
Yeah.
So I would cast this as a DM all at the 3rd level.
Because that's where warlocks go.
Yeah.
If it's a undead warlock, it's a warlock.
But with the 36 hit points, you're probably going to take this down pretty easily. I'm assuming that this creature is really meant to be a tricky, long-standing arc versus you just find it and fight it.
Exactly. This creature is, given the fact that they have given you, the DM, the ability to literally disguise yourself as anybody, and it just always
could be the party,
always.
Could be a party member going around doing things, and all of a sudden they find out rumors are being spread about them.
They know when magic is being cast all the time too, with that detect magic. So it's just like if you're trying to trick somebody, or you're trying to figure out something, or like see if this creature is a Deathlok.
And it's at will.
It knows.
So it's at will, so they'll always be knowing that you're casting some type of spell, and
it's insane.
And then they jump into a dark alleyway, disguise self, come back as someone else.
Who's that?
I saw someone running that way!
Haha! Got him!
Little did he know I was just leading them into a trap, which this is a very interesting looking creature, and the turn resistance is pretty good as well.
The Deathlok has advantage on saving throws against any effect that turns undead. So if you're using cleric abilities that are OP against undead, it has advantage of trying to get out of that shit.
Yeah. And also, what's even more interesting, too, is that you can sub out all of these spells for whatever their patron is, which it says for the Archfey, Blink, Fairy Fire, Hunger of the Dar, Hypnotic Pattern, Phantasmal Force, and Sleep. So depending on what type of Deathlok you want, or maybe even what type of Deathlok your PC was, you can adapt it to that to fit to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk here of what we talked about at the beginning when we were first talking about the Deathlok. And now we're looking at the normal Deathlok. We're not talking about the Mastermind. We're not talking about anything. We're looking at the Deathlok itself.
Oh, yeah.
What would you change, or what would we change at this point if a PC was like, is it possible I could be that Deathlok? What would you change? Obviously, the alignment is what we've already talked about. Whatever the alignment of the patron is, you are automatically that alignment.
Honestly, I feel like this stat block is pretty good enough. I mean, I would just change the resistances so that he's just a normal PC, because he gets enough as far as immunities go. Mm-hmm. So having resistance as well just makes him uber tank.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking that literally you just add some of these abilities that normal PCs don't have, that this undead creature has, and then you pretty much got yourself your PC.
But I really don't think that this would fit well with a party.
No.
Unless you're going for an evil campaign, then that's fine. But I feel like in a normal setting, I feel like you would probably have this PC try to reverse the curse. And not, of course, by defeating the patron, because that would just take way too long, but I feel as if
that's an arc.
This would be an arc, yeah.
That would be
definitely be an
insane arc too. That sounds really cool. Just imagining a warlock just going around his warlock life, somehow he dies in battle, and then because his patron was that spiteful or just that vengeful, whatever took, however the PC acted.
Well, it said it's due to breaking the pact.
It really is. I'm just saying, because of the PC, of how it acted, it's taking its revenge in however way.
Oh, yeah.
So that is to stand. How do you... Because these patrons are literally demigods.
They are.
So you're literally trying to find a demigod and either one, take it down, or two, convince it to give you your normal life back.
I feel like tricking it would be the most suffice.
That's hard to do, though.
That would be hard to do, but I feel like that would be up to your PCs. And if they're willing to go through that, I would make an arc just kind of tricking the patron into giving you back your normal life, giving you back your flesh, restoring your flesh and bones back to the way they were. Because I feel like that's the only real thing they got.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really say, that you lose your soul.
No, it doesn't say that. You know what? You're not wrong about this. But from what the book tells you, you can kind of interpret it the way you want it to.
I feel like this is complete mind control. Like, complete and utter mind control is what, based on what it's saying, it's 100% complete and utter mind control. And I feel like if you really do have this in your party as a DM, I would just have him betray the team.
I mean, that's only, like, how it works, right? That's only, that would be...
Unless your PC is smart enough to trick you, the DM, and the patron.
That's hard to do.
And no, I feel like this is something that a party can discuss outside of the game heavily. And they can come up with a plan to purify your body. But this would have to be without the knowledge of the DM. This would be very intricate, and I would completely and utterly, wholeheartedly reward.
Of course, that's insane. That's thinking on a level that you're not expecting.
That's Inception right there.
But then again, that is the type of players we are and the type of people that we are. We like to overthink things.
Yeah, so, no, but the thing is that I would allow you guys to overthink the shit out of this. If you guys, if I didn't know any of this, you guys are talking in secret, or you guys make a group chat of not involving me, or whatever the case is, and you start discussing on how we could trick the DM and the patron, I'd go with it. And if you guys successfully trick me and the patron into thinking that, oh, this is exactly what we're doing, all of a sudden you're bathing your PC in holy water inside of a church with the book of a Bible or a holy Christian or something, and you would convert this warlock into, like, say for instance Ford turns paladin because he lost his warlock power. That's not exactly the normal route.
But it happened.
So, I mean, this can be multi-level, high stakes, high rewards, long con you guys can play. And like I said, if you complete it, I would definitely, you would get your body back.
I encourage, I want to make sure this is known. We encourage overthinking when it comes to this game, because this game is essentially, you're thinking about this world and how big and expansive this is. This is this world and another world. You are essentially playing a sentient being in another world, and we overthink things all the time.
Oh yeah,
all the time. That's just human beings in nature. We always seek to understand,
curiosity
and seek to
experimentation.
Control. You don't, and that's how human nature is. They seek control and power, and they just, in that it can be destructive. Like I said, we're overthinking shit. This is crazy.
No, this is technically what this podcast is for. Overthinking shit.
Absolutely. Think about it. Think about how human nature is and how complicated human nature is. Because with one person, they could be out to just seek to be loved and understood. In another person, they could seek just power and just straight control.
Loyalty, companionship, lust, greed.
Individuals, as people, seek different things. We are all seeking different things. And sometimes we don't find that, but we're always looking for it because that's nature. That's human desire. So put that in a character's perspective.
Put that in the Deathlok's perspective. That is the ultimate feels bad. I mean, there's just no really going around that. Literally going from a person that had a life, its own thoughts, its own perceptions, into a walking, mind-controlled murder god.
Absolutely. It's just...
Hey, who knows? Your PC can love it. Your PC, this is probably what your PC was looking for. You really don't know.
Like I said, the desires of a creature and the desires of just the nature of whatever character you're playing wavers. There will not be as simple-minded as you may think a character can be. Right? Let's just say Dwarf Fighter. You can make Dwarf Fighter the most unique Dwarf Fighter ever. If you because it comes from you. It's your character. Each time that you create a character, it's coming from you. And whether you think about it or not, you're taking a little piece of you and putting it into a world.
Always. Always and forever.
So, before we get too much on this tangent, the only differences I'm really seeing between a Deathlok Mastermind and a Deathlok is the fact that it gets longer dark vision and it can see through magical darkness. It just has a couple of higher stats. It can cast different spells from level 3 to level 10. Definitely a huge jump.
Wait, level 10?
The Deathlok is a 10th level spellcaster, which means its blight is 10th level. If that's how you're running it. It is DM's perspective.
No, 10th level spellcaster, meaning that they're level 10 class. Yeah, so say for instance...
Oh, I get it. So it's
you're
5th
level
level.
10 PC.
It's 5th level then.
Yeah.
5th level spellcaster. So, yeah. It's still very high, but...
Oh, definitely.
It's not as high as I thought of it.
Oh no, the Dungeon Cast has talked about this. Oh no.
Okay, I don't care.
I care. And there's something new and inventive.
We're just going through things, so it's okay. Grave Bolts is something that the Mastermind has, which is a ranged attack. It's 120 feet that can target 1 to 2 targets. It has 48 necrotic damage. If the target is large or smaller, it must succeed on a DC 16 strength saving throw, or become restrained as shadowy tendrils wrap around it for 1 minute. It's just a tentacle spell.
I mean, yeah, these creatures aren't meant to be ran by themselves. You definitely give them minions, because that action economy would be really bad.
Terrible.
I mean, but its range is freaking impressive. I mean...
Absolutely. It's still a very interesting creature. Before we get too much on this tangent, I think this is a good place for us to kind of simmer things down and for us to end our first episode of Dragon Coffee. Guys, if you want us to continue this, or if you are interested in different topics and would like to let us know, this will be available on our AC2 High YouTube channel, and will also be there is also going to be an availability for certain podcast users to comment and to leave certain details of potential episodes and potential notes that you desire. So if you are interested in continuing to watch this, Toll of the Bell, is that what you called it?
Toll of the Bell.
Toll of the Bell. Ring the bell or subscribe to our podcast.
Or both.
Do both, absolutely. And check us out next week, when we'll probably be going over a new monster, and we'll go over spell casting.
See you guys later. Don't forget to drink that coffee. Gulp it down, but not too fast. We love you.
Not too fast.
Not too fast.
Not too fast.
Gotta pace yourself, bro.
You're gonna die.
Oh, I didn't tell.